Hi guys, welcome to this session on Microsoft Excel. In this module, I want to have a look at the feature called Analyze Data. On the screen I've got two sample sets of data, a very small one on the left here, and then a bigger one, not too big, for 400 or 500 rows of information. So I'm going to use the Analyze Data feature to show you what happens. So I've clicked into this little table first off, and then I'm going to click on this button over here. It gives you a bit of information when you just point to the button, but I'm going to click on it now and it should run. So this pane appears on the right side of the screen, and you've got some sample data, two sets there, and if I scroll down a little bit further, you've got some more information there. These are all ideas that this tool has picked up from this data. So let's have a look at what these are. So the first one is like a little chart. It's nothing spectacular, but I'll just click on insert and that'll drop this chart in there like that. You don't have to have this chart, and you can modify this chart to suit what you need. I mean, I don't like the totals being on there. The next one down says insert a pivot table. So if you're not familiar with pivot tables, this is a great little way to learn how pivot tables work. So I'll just click on insert that one. It's dropped that into a separate sheet, so it's got suggestion 1 there. If I go back into this, so that's how it sits normally, and then you've got the data dropped in there and then a pivot table based on that. So there's your pivot table and there's your pivot table fields, and you can tick these on or off and manipulate the data as you feel fit. Now if I go back to the first sheet and let's have a look at what else we've got down here. A little graph. Let's insert another pivot table. So this has got a graph on it, so it's going to do the same sort of thing, just giving you a graph there of the total information. Now on the bigger set of data, if I go back to sheet 1 and click into the bigger set of data, and if I just close this and then just run it again, it's going to analyze this data and come up with a different list. So again, you've got pivot table options. Now that's just a chart, so and that's a pivot table as well. So you've got 3 pivot table options or pivot charts, and then just a normal graph. So I'll go for this one. I'll look at that one. That'll drop it on a separate sheet. There's the data. It's manipulated in date order, and then you can see the dates there with some information. And if I go onto this one, let's just drop that in there based on that. I don't like that one. I'm going to delete that one. So you don't have to have these. They're just ideas. Now if you scroll down this list and none of the ideas are any use, you've got options at the top there. Ask a question. So this one is bottom 3. Let's have a look at that one. So that's showing the bottom 3, little preview. I'm not going to insert pivot table on that, but let's go into here and go back and then click into this list, and you see that there's some more information there. How many different departments are there? 7. Not interested in that. And then go back in there. What's the most common colleague? I will show the total spend by date as a line chart. Let's do it for the percentage. What does that look like? Okay, I'll insert that. That's okay. So that's this is all looking at the same data. So you've got a little graph there which is looking at the percentage sales. Now if you don't like any of these, you can type a suggestion. Sales by quarter maybe. Let's have a look at that and then see if it comes up with anything for that. There we go. Not really any use there. Let's have a look at this raw data, see if we can pick something better than that. Sales by location. Let's go for that one. This will be a pivot table for definite. Sales by location. Insert pivot table and drops that in. So we haven't got any figures. Now this is where you need a little knowledge of pivot tables. So what I can do there is just drop that one into values, and I'll get all the figures in there. And if I go on to sum of spend, I can just put that into pounds on the number format option. Counting, okay, and then okay again, and that's in pounds. So that's a list of all the locations that these sales are. You could put you can do all of this. You can put quarter in there, or I could put quarter by column, so that it's going to break that down a little more. And the date's going to be a massive list, and then you could put colleague at the top. Yeah, and then maybe pull quarter into there. So that's what a pivot table is. You can just manipulate the information. So I'll put the location across the top. Yeah, so there's no right or wrong answer with the pivot table. It's about moving things around until you're happy with it. But this is just using the analyze data tool to see if it can give you some information. And I don't like that. So hopefully that was of use to you. So people that are fairly basic in their use of Excel, this is a great tool to set the scene and get you going with some stuff. And then you can just do what I did there. There's a suggestion. What happens here? Pivot table. Play around with it. Suggestion 2 is a pivot chart. Again, you can play around with that. What happens if I do that? You know, the graph sort of changes, and then if I put it into there, changes again. That's no good. So you need it somewhere, and that's how that works all the way along. Wherever the suggestion is, if I click into the pivot table, you'll get the pivot table, and then you can do it by location. Maybe that doesn't look good at all, so that's not going to work. Quarter probably would work, maybe. Not too bad. Don't really like that either, so I'll pull that out. And you pull these out, and you're back to square one. So hopefully that was of use for you. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.